didn't realize I pushed the button. So, I have decided that instead of talking just about my personal life, I wanted to pick a topic to cover, and I thought I would pick something near and dear to my heart, and it might turn into a little mini-series. I want to, and this is inspired by Danielle, because we had a discussion about it today on the phone, about periods and birth control. As we all know, I have 4 kids. I don't want any more. I had a pretty traumatic experience having Zoe because I developed preeclampsia and had to be on magnesium, and I never want to do that again. And with Angie, it was a similar situation. I had blood pressure issues and they had to induce. I did not have to have magnesium with her, but still, it was pretty not fun being induced. So progressively I got worse, and I don't want to do it again. So of course that meant that I was going to go down the what birth control do I want situation. I will tell a little personal information and backstory that I have been on birth control since I was a young age. And since I know there's probably males that watch this too and don't know much about it, there's a lot of girls who go on birth control shortly after they get their first menstrual cycle because they come to find out that their bodies don't handle their menstrual cycle very well, and they have a very rough one, whether it's heavy bleeding or super horrible cramping or whatever the situation. It can lead to horrible situations where they're out of school or work or whatever for long periods of time, and are just in traumatic pain. So at like 12, I was on birth control for the fact that I had really horrible periods. And I was on birth control right up until I think I was 19. And then I got off of it and we tried different things because they wanted, instead of just treating it with birth control, I wanted to find out why it was happening, because they were still pretty bad. And my body just has never handled them well, or never did before. So I had endured a couple different treatment things to see if they could figure it out. Never found out what it was. And thought maybe it was being on birth control for so long that messed me up a little more. I don't know. Then I was newly married and we'd started talking about having a family. And so my brain switched from like, how do I fix these periods to like, how do I get pregnant? And then for people who didn't know, I had fertility issues and we couldn't get pregnant for like over 2 years. And I wound up having polycystic ovarian syndrome, which has a lot of different things that go into it. But heavy, crazy periods can be one. It's a hormone imbalance craziness. There's a lot of women who have it. I actually know tons of women who have it, and have a hard time getting pregnant because of it. You have a hard time losing weight because of it. Usually it's an imbalance of having too much testosterone. And so there's just different issues that come with it. And so that, of course, is probably why my periods were always so bad. And for some girls, it's endometriosis, which is a condition where people get like little pieces of the endometrium material, which is what the menstrual cycle actually regulates, like comes out, like is what you're bleeding out, actually travels through your bloodstream and affixes to different parts of your body. And so when your hormones regulate for that stuff to do what it's supposed to do, which is inflame and bleed, it can happen wherever it is in your body. And I'm sure somebody with endometriosis could totally actually describe that way better, because I don't have it and I don't have to endure it, and I've never had to experience any of it or have it explained to me in any other detail. But a lot of women have to have surgery to have this stuff removed, especially if they ever want to have kids. And it can cause a lot of issues. There's a whole slew of fertility issues that can cause horrible periods. And yeah, I still can't say that they're much. I mean, I had to go down the line of birth control. I don't like hormones. I had rough pregnancies emotionally. They put me in weird depressive states, and hormones and I are not good friends. I always say that my boy pregnancies were easier because I already had more testosterone, and now you just add more to them and it was fine. The girls, the extra estrogen totally and progesterone totally screwed with me. It was not good. And yeah, so I had to go down the birth control line of what did I want to use. I know hormones are a bother to me, and so I didn't really want to get on something that had hormones that could affect me. I also know hormones give me horrible migraines. And so I had to figure it out. And of course, I had lots of friends who had all these different forms of birth control, and tried different things. And I wound up going with an IUD, the Mirena, because I know so many people who had it and had positive experiences. And of course, it can usually cause you to not have a period. And I really wanted that because I just have this logic that if I don't want babies, why do I need a period? Because that's the point of it, right? Is for your body to reproduce. And so I just got that. As personal as it gets, I still get a period. So for women out there thinking about getting the IUD because, oh, I won't get a period, not 100%, you could still get it. So just be warned. It doesn't suck, though. That's the nice thing. It no longer sucks. My periods no longer suck. I do get migraines, though, on occasion, usually through my cycle, and so I've heard that that's common with Mirena. There are other option for the IUDs, of course, is copper IUD, and the reason I didn't go with that is because I heard the periods suck on it, and like I just said, I already had sucky ones. I don't want to have worse. There's, of course, all the different pills that are out there. I have tried almost all of them, and the one that you are only supposed to get a period like every 3 months didn't work for me. My body didn't like it. Hormones and I are not friends at all. We don't like each other. We don't mesh. Adding any other hormones to my body tends to freak it out. And there's the pills, there's the shot, which I'd never done before, because I'd always heard it made you gain weight, and I already have insecurity issues about weight gain. But there are some women who swear by it. And there's the ring, which I did try once upon a time. Again, weird breakthrough bleeding that I didn't like, and this thing is shoved up in you. It's weird. At least to me, it was really weird and uncomfortable. So there's all those different pills, and I did try the Ortho Tricycline Low for a while. Or not tricycline, the low dose, the mini pill. That's what it's called, the mini pill, because it's safe for breastfeeding. And I wanted to use it after Angie. But the hormones made me really depressed, because it's a progesterone mostly pill. So I ended up not taking it, and of course we all know Zoe happened eventually. There's also the method where you track your cycles. I'm not gonna tell you to do that one because Angie and Zoe are proof that that is an ineffective method, because Angie, maybe it was a little less on point that I was tracking, but Zoe I tracked. I knew when I should have ovulated, and I ovulated 3 days early. So she should not have happened, and yet she happened. So don't trust your body. Also, not 100% no matter what you do. We all know that. Birth control is not 100%. Things happen all the time. Women get pregnant on birth control all the time. Condoms, not foolproof also. So no method is 100%, as we know, besides abstinence and getting sterilized. And I do know people who have had vasectomies and still had babies. And that is because, and I didn't know this until I knew men who had vasectomies. You have to go back and make sure that the tubes actually are not connected, because they can grow back, which can also happen if people get their tubes tied. Eggs can do weird things. Do your research on that stuff, people. Do your research. And don't expect it to be 100% until you are told it's 100%. Especially if you're going to get snipped for the men. Get snipped and then go back and get checked, please. It's 3 months, I think, is when you get checked. Go do your deed in the cup and make sure that you got no swimmers, because nobody needs to. If you don't want kids, then you need to do what you need to do, not have kids. That being said, I have toyed with the idea of that. I just want a hysterectomy at this point. I have 4 beautiful, wonderful, amazing tiny humans I get to raise. And that last pregnancy scared me. It's not that I even would have been opposed to having a bigger family, or at any point or whatever. It's that last labor and delivery really scared the shit out of me. Ooh, there goes my computer. And so I toy with it, and I brought it up to my doctor at one point, and she was like, well, is your IUD not working? And I was like, no, it's fine for now, but I'm still getting my period, and of course it's not 100%. And to tell you the truth, if I'm done having babies, why do I need to have a period? Why do I need a uterus to do these things? I know lots of women who have had their that have had hysterectomies, and I've done some research on it, and I've toyed with it. I am still young, so I'm of course not going to go jump on that bridge quite yet, but it is something I've toyed with. I know people who get their tubes tied. I don't want to do that. I have my own reasons, but mostly it's, again, like, one of the worst things about being a woman is your period, and if I'm done having babies, I don't need that anymore, and so either I'm not going to have surgery that requires recovery, plus being a single mother, it would be really hard to try and take care of myself and 4 kids while doing that. And I've never had a C-section, so that didn't seem like a good choice. If I had had a C-section with Zoe, I probably would have told him to do it at that point. Yeah, so this is my disclaimer that you should always research your birth control options. Men and women should know about them. If you have a partner who's on birth control and you know that they've had depression or anxiety, be aware that sometimes birth control can mess with that. It did for me. The hormones really screw with you. Hormones do weird things to people. If you're done having kids, there's lots of options out there. If you're like me and you just think that it just needs to be out of business, there's, of course, that hysterectomy option. I've seen lots of women talking about it and different avenues for that. Periods can really suck for men and women out there who may think that it's not that bad. And there are some women. My labor and delivery with Theo and Joey, because they were both natural, was so easy for me because my period cramps had been so bad that it was equal. Like, the ratio of pain was literally equal until I was like 9 centimeters. And so it was almost a cakewalk. It was like I've endured this before. I still, to this day, will have period cramps that put me on my knees. They are so bad. So, yeah, and it's insane. So research your birth control options. If you have questions about birth control, I have tried quite a few of them, short and long term. Feel free to shoot questions my way. If you have questions about periods and you don't know, feel free to shoot me questions. There's also all of these awesome YouTube videos that I've seen before that I feel like some of my more conservative people might not have seen, but they're super helpful. I don't know the names of all of them to state them, but Google is amazing. You can totally find some really nice videos to explain this kind of stuff, especially the birth control option. I have a feeling that one of these videos I'm going to do a birth video. Who wants to see that? I've had 4 different births. 4 have been very different, and yeah, they've been quite experiences. So, and I really think that postpartum needs to talk about because people don't talk about it enough. So this is turning into a series, and of course we're going to get periods and birth control out of the way. So if you are researching birth control options and you have questions, feel free to shoot me a message or comment or whatever. I like this spot, so this might become a thing because this is like a nice spot. My computer is right here. Yeah, so we're going to get personal because why the fuck not? And I find it interesting, and I don't have shame about talking about this stuff. So, yeah, I hope you guys had a good self-care day, and you did something great for yourself. I don't really have much to update. I got some phone calls, and I'm working through some things and busting my ass. Maybe I'll save my personal updates to once a week and try to do this stuff differently. So, yeah, I hope you guys did some great self-care today. I ate a cookie. It was fantastic. And I, of course, went for a 3-mile run. So, all right.